United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Multi-talented, take over Jill's.
I don't want to do that very good.
Call the meeting to order. Everybody had a chance to read minutes of the last meeting.
Move we approve.
Second.
Been moved and second, approve the minutes of the December 4th meeting. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Request to be out of state.
I already did mine.
What was it again? Do you remember?
It's the 27th of December through the 1st of January.
Okay. Any unfinished business?
No.
Okay, we need to decide when we're gonna have our January meeting, because nobody seems to want to be here on New Year's. I won't be for some reason. I talked to Jody, she has the week of the 8th as her auditor's week, so if you prefer we didn't do it then.
Could we do it at the end of the first week of January? Would that, like Thursday or Friday? No? Probably before your audit, huh?
What we did last year was just have one meeting. It's really normally
15th.
Okay.
slow, but it's up to you guys.
No, that's
The
fine.
only reason I asked not to have it on the 8th is because, I mean,
She's got
they're
that
just getting
file.
really good start and there's piles of stuff all over. And
Well, if we were to do it on the 15th, they should be done.
oh, they'll be gone. They'll be
And then
gone.
all the claims will be in and
Yeah, we may have to pay some of the claims before, but I'll send that out, but
So if we hold it on the 15th, would we hold it again on the?
No,
no.
just one meeting.
just one meeting and then we do it February, whatever. Yeah.
I move we cancel the January 1st meeting and have our sole meeting of the month on January 15th.
Second. Mark got it. He got the whole word out, I only got second, so.
Been moved and seconded to reschedule our January meetings to one meeting on 15th. Any discussion?
Thank you for not having a meeting on my birthday.
My birthday's the first, right?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, the next item of business is the Kiwanis on our playground equipment. I was a little shocked when I got a phone call from Wheeler, what's his name? Glenn Wheeler. Called me and said they'd done two parks, and I'm not sure how Choteau was picked as their next option. Talking with him, they would come and talk to us, see what we had in mind, what they could do for us. They would supply part of the cost. I told them that we did have money for a match, but she was excited to hear that we didn't have to go raise money to match it. They're gonna be here, I just got a call from him today. They are going to be here on Saturday the 12th, January 12th, at 1 p.m. We're gonna meet down at the park, just so they could take a look at our park, and then we'll probably come back in here, see what they've got to offer, what our thoughts are. They're willing to work with us, but it gets our playground off the dead center and something going on.
So I know that, I know very little. Stuart, you or Steve might know a lot more, but the group that's currently working on it kind of has lined up what they want, and they've got I think an equipment manufacturer they've lined up with, and it's actually their second, is this the second manufacturer, third? So do we know if Kiwanis is going to try and just fund what they've already designated, or they have to use what Kiwanis wants us to use?
I think they're kinda open to that.
Okay.
They've been working with this company, and it sounds like they're getting a pretty good discount with who they're working with.
Well, I would say as long as the committee that's been working for however many years on it is okay with it, I would be, I just don't wanna come in and say, hey, we got this funded, but we're gonna do our own thing, you know,
No,
thanks
I
for,
think-
yeah, you know what I'm saying, I wanna make sure that
Right,
they
no,
lead
I-
that discussion.
Cause we've got some things we gotta do, we gotta have our pickets that everybody is
Yeah.
donated to. There's one bench that's been bought that has to be there, there's just donations, so, no, they're more than open. The reason they're coming is to talk to us, to see what we want,
Mhm.
they've got their ideas, so.
So can we make sure that committee, the idea is that committee would be there on the 12th?
Right,
I will.
Well, and they are being emailed, they're part of that group email,
right.
Okay.
yeah,
Right.
that I've been.
So-
presenting.
Stuart, since you've been in this from the beginning, what are your thoughts?
I kinda looked, I've looked at a lot of playground equipment, and I don't wanna look a gift horse in the mouth. That's a very small piece of equipment. It would not take the place of what's there, but if we wanted to do it, I mean, at least it'd be something to start with.
I think maybe we could take out one piece of equipment and put that in and do
No,
a piece.
Well, we'd probably take out the big structure,
Mhm.
because
And the
this is.
slide,
Slide.
On the slide.
What's wrong with the slide?
Well, the thought,
I know that,
the
but that's
thought
not
that
what
Brooke
they
and I
said.
kinda had was that we would start with the slide and the swings for next
Work.
spring
South.
and work south, but with Kiwanis coming in, we'll talk to them.
Well, like I said, I wanted to make sure that people that are working for however many years are on board with.
Well, and I would put out there that if we decide this isn't, if that's what we need to go with, and we decide this isn't for the city park, cause it's gonna be bright colored, which is
Yeah.
something we promised Corleen it wouldn't be.
We've got the options of changing all that, I talked to
Okay.
them about that, so that's not the piece, that's what they put in a short year.
Okay.
But what you're saying is if somehow it didn't work out here, we might use the mini park.
Yes,
Okay.
that's where I was going with that,
Okay.
is if for some reason it didn't work here, I would ask them if they might be willing to do it at the mini park, because that structure is also falling apart.
Either way, we could utilize what they're trying to help us
Yes.
with. Okay,
Yes.
that's fine.
And I did talk with Brooke, I called, I needed her email address when I was sending it, so I did tell her what it was, and she was very excited.
Good.
Yep.
And I did I also needed Heather's email address, so I talked to her too, and, you know, it's a
Heather.
way of, hush,
Oh, okay.
it's kind of a way of maybe being able to pull back a little bit on all the fundraising that
Yeah.
we do in this community for a while, you know?
Let's get the playground and the pool built.
Yeah, and well,
No.
you know, we've had the pavilion, we've had the
Yeah.
pool, we've had the, you know, and you don't know how long that's all gonna last
Yeah.
forever. So to have this come in was kind of exciting, just to even get us started.
Yeah.
And we've talked before, getting it started is if you were going to find a big donor, that's, once they see that it's real,
Yeah.
it's really gonna happen.
Yeah, I think it's a great thing. I just wanna make sure that we're not, you know, sometimes great news steps on the people that work the hardest, you know, so I wanted to make sure it's done the right way. So they're all invited, anyone is invited to that on the 12th to go see, okay.
Yep, they wanted to come look, see what we had,
Okay, cool.
come with what we had in mind. Like I say, you know, they're willing to kind of match our funds or whatever, so.
Cool, I think that said they had 10,000 they could throw at us.
Or a little more.
A bit
Okay.
more,
A bit
yeah.
more, and we've got approximately the same, so.
Actually, we have about 18,000.
So we're talking about maybe a 30,000.
And now, so that's what the city was chipping in, and then what we've been able to fundraise, right?
Yeah, wasn't that what I emailed you? 8 and 10, I think.
What were some of the total project projections for that?
Oh, I
Well,
don't know.
the original one was 107.
No, what's the latest iteration?
Well,
Version
so,
18.7?
so when we took, the thing is that I've had 4 different reps tell me, oh, we can do that for cheaper,
Okay,
and it hasn't been. Now, I finally have a company that's like, we will do this at a piece of time, at a time with you if it takes 10 years, which we haven't had. But they gave us a 3D drawing, which the other 2 companies that do 3D drawings were gonna charge us $500
so
for.
what were those costing?
About 90 to do everything that Leather's designed. This company, if we hit their, this company is called Play by Design, and if we hit their sales, we could possibly do it for half that.
Okay, cool,
So, it's just having the money when their sales are.
cool. Well, thanks for communicating on this, Jody and Dan, I
Yeah.
really appreciate it.
Yeah, like I say, that was just out of the blue.
That's
nice.
cool.
Those are the best
I have no
ones.
idea how they picked this.
Oh, good. Thank you.
Okay, that
Where are we at?
Jody can explain.
Everybody go to sleep.
Yep.
Did
No.
anybody read this?
I geek out on this. No, unfortunately.
One night I couldn't sleep. and so-
Yeah, exactly. Well, really what this is the condensed version of the 100-page report that I send to the state.
This is the Cliff Notes?
This is the Cliff Notes, yeah.
Nice.
So, it's called the Management's Discussion and Analysis. It just pulls the highlights of truly financially what our picture is. We're sitting in very good financial position. I don't see any red flags. We've been talking about the garbage fund and eventually we are gonna have to take a look at that. The costs have started to go up in the garbage fund, as far as, so we've had to replace, 7,500 containers. We've had to get new dumpsters,
7,500 gallon containers.
No, 75 to 195 gallon containers, and we are also have replaced dumpsters.
See, I heard you say we replaced 7,500 containers, and I wondered why we had that many.
Yeah. No, not
7
7,500.
for each man, woman, and child.
People sometimes want two. But, so, we are, getting to the point that we are gonna have to take a look at that. I guess it's somebody through the federal government. Some of what shows here is a little skewed because my friends at Gadsby have changed some of the rules again, and so now we do have to show some liabilities for things that truly aren't our liabilities, like, it's called OPEB, and it has something to do with our insurance and the liability for people that are older versus younger and what the costs are, and they hire an actuarial. And so some of those liabilities are huge.
Are you talking like employees? Or are you talking residents?
No, it's employees.
Okay.
But we're part of a group pool, but through this actuarial and how, they figure out how long they think you're gonna live and all the liabilities that we have to actually put on our books in water, sewer, garbage is huge. Garbage alone was $154,000. That it isn't truly a liability. We're never, so it does skew things a little bit. It isn't something I question at some point what it's gonna do to somebody that isn't sitting financially where we are when they try to go out for bonds, for like revenue bonds.
Yeah.
Because and they're doing the same thing in PERS. We don't have any say over what they do, we don't have any, but it's still, and and that,
But when those baby boomers retire,
yeah.
you get liability.
Well, but they won't be, because if
Right.
at the city, once you retire, you are vested, and you're vested, you can stay on the insurance, but the city's not paying for you.
Gotcha.
The city doesn't pay for
So it really is just skewing the books that,
Exactly, because we are not, once you retire, like I said, you can pay if you want to and stay on the exact same insurance, it's not Cobra,
right,
but it does.
It's basically, if we have a train wreck, we have to CYA.
Yeah, pretty much,
Okay.
yeah.
But the net outcome of me reading the report was our capital positions especially moved forward a lot between 17 and 18. Does that sound?
Yes, we actually booked the Lions Club, but they're done, so we did book that as a
That was
gift.
like $1 million almost.
Yeah, almost. And that was because they took it on, they paid for everything.
So 130 in buildings and 729 in improvements other than buildings, which would
And
be
that,
the pool.
and that would be the pool and the improvements to the
But
building.
because we booked it, we took that as a net revenue.
Right, it's an asset, it's an asset. And then we will.
I was trying to figure out why it jumped so much, cause if it doesn't do that every year, we wouldn't be.
No, and we just truly
We'd be
didn't, a
making
lot
a
of
lot
times
more
you have
sense every time,
expenses that
huh?
go on the other side. For this, we did not, because
Yeah.
that was raised money, so it's different.
Cool.
So, and we still have our ongoing sewer project, so some of that just goes in work in progress, so it isn't truly showing in the assets. It's showing in an asset for the sewer, but it's not where it should be, you know, within
But it wouldn't
buildings.
change the
and-
overall assets.
Right,
It would just be a different line item.
right, you know,
Wait, we have
it's
sewer
not a
project?
building, no, we don't have, we're never gonna be done with it either.
Well, that's just part of the,
Ongoing operation.
yeah, that's the ongoing operations of the
Pretty
city.
much.
Your sewer and water are never done.
Yeah, but we could close the project. To say.
Well, So why don't we? Because there's so much more still to do, or?
No, because with rural development, with this project, with rural development, they wanted to show match. And so by doing phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, those were matches to other, with SRF, with all TSEP, with those, so that put us in line for more grant money, because we had more match. And we can use grants, we can use all that, so by rolling those all into one, we were able to get like $1 million. But I think we've almost got $2 million in grant money from RD. So, and that's unheard of. We were very lucky. So, I mean, I really, basically, if no one has any questions,
do you have more, talking about, we need to look at the garbage position, the garbage fund position. Does that, I mean, if something comes down and we need to, like, I don't know who was talking about, we need to get bear-proof containers in Choteau? We're not, no, okay.
I mean, maybe someday, if that were to ever happen, I know we were in West Yellowstone 2 years ago. They are horribly, horribly expensive,
Is that that?
Yes.
horribly.
I agree.
So far, I haven't heard of any bear versus garbage can.
There were 28 this summer.
What? In Choteau?
There were
In
28
Choteau.
bear versus garbage can. Bears digging in garbage cans this summer.
They didn't hurt any garbage
Yes.
can.
In Choteau?
In Choteau. In Choteau.
How did you count 28? Like, where do you get that information?
Yeah,
There were 3 of them on
I
my
hate to
block.
argue with
Did you just pull 28 out of the air?
But
So
there
I
was
thought
none
you read
reported.
28
If
garbage
they,
cans.
I
in there,
mean, the garbage guys haven't found any evidence of that.
so, and they're none damaged. I mean.
Right, none damaged.
Yeah, you know, if something, it could be anything. If we started having a lot of damage, I suppose we would have to look at something like that. I don't know what you would do. I don't know if you go out for grant money, that I don't know.
Yeah.
So we'll have to look at that hopefully after I'm gone.
Yeah, the garbage guys definitely have not reported any.
Well, and the 3 on my block were not, the garbage can stuff was pulled out of the top, laid out, nothing was eaten, but it was all licked clean, which, when I talked to bear biologists, said, sounds like a bear.
But the can wasn't tipped over?
But the lid was open and the stuff was pulled up out of it. Which is why I didn't think dog, didn't think
Hungry kids.
Hungry children. Anyway, I hope that, like I said, during my stay here, that doesn't happen.
Yeah, me too, cause they're ridiculous.
Out of curiosity, what is a regular 95-gallon garbage can versus a bear-proof one cost?
Ours cost 75. You know,
The
to be
bear-proof
really,
are like 300.
at least, they're very, very expensive,
Okay.
but,
So, I guess the question I have after going through this report is this one of those that you sort of like put in a file and say, well, that's cool? I mean, or is
Yes.
I mean, do you,
Yeah.
okay.
I
I just didn't know if it's like now, the next step is,
no, this is the last thing that I do when I do the annual financial report, which I'm not lying when I say it's 100 pages. And then
you do
and
the
you
executive
submit-
summary.
Yeah, this basically, you send to the state with it, this is what I give to you. The auditors look at this,
Gotcha.
they analyze, match it up.
Okay.
So, but other than that, then yes, it goes in a drawer.
Okay.
And I do not write this every year. I will tell you, I do change all the numbers, but I do not.
That's fine,
reinvent the wheel
I
every
didn't know
year.
if there was a next step, is all I was looking for.
Not kinda, the auditors look at this, that I.
It was more informational for us,
Mhm.
is why we're looking at it, okay?
Yeah, cause you don't wanna look at,
No, I
go
don't.
through that, no.
I see.
Mike's stuff is way more fun.
Well, thank you for all the hard work you put into it here.
So, one more question and then I think I'm done too. Reserve. Is that in this report? The reserve that we get to keep?
Probably not, no, that's in the
Okay.
budget reports, but we
Okay.
are at, depending on the fund, we're anywhere from 44% to 48.
Okay. Which
And the
is
most
pretty
would be
much the
50.
maximum we can do.
50.
Yeah, okay, alright. I didn't think it was in there when I read it, but
No, this is more just, that's more in the budget report, that's the
Okay.
other report, so.
Any other questions?
I move that we move on.
Thank you.
Everybody had a chance to look at the claims?
Yeah, everyone signed it, Joe.
I move that we pay the claims.
Second.
Moved to second, pay the claims, we got any more discussion?
Who did that? I was last.
Stuart
moved.
first, Steve second.
Thank you.
All those in favor?
Aye.
No law enforcement this time.
Well, they sent it, but they sent me Fairfields.
That's okay.
No, it was really freaking boring, so I didn't think you guys would wanna see it, so.
No good
Don't
stuff.
heard anything from our city judge. Public Works.
Everybody get a report, run through it real quick on wastewater, back to the bad news. On December 8th, you can kind of see our influent went, it did the opposite of what it did when we plugged the hole, and the hole's still plugged. But basically, the groundwater came up a bunch.
Yeah.
You can see it in Spring Creek, if you drive up the river, you can see it. And, I'm happy we got that plugged in there, it'd be a lot worse.
I was gonna say, if we
Do we
plug
have a
that,
good
it would
explanation for why it went up so sharply?
I don't, I'm trying to get, there's a ground water monitoring well right by the Rickham that Montana Tech runs. Currently, they download the data,
Like by the internet or something?
they, quarterly is what they say, it seems like they actually download it biannual. The last time they did it was in September.
So they actually come up, plug into it and download?
Yeah, and hopefully in January, we're gonna get that hooked up to a cellular device, so it'll be real time, we can go on the internet and look at it, and that's gonna be a very useful tool for us, looking at sewer. So, without looking at that data from September now, it's kinda hard to really come up with some answers, but I did look at the temperatures over that period, and we were cold right up to that, and then things thawed out. I don't know whether it's a freeze thaw thing, and it might go down when it gets cold again. It also kinda correlates with Bynum shut off, I think. You know,
Yeah, mine shut off about
2 weeks before, you
Yeah.
know, and that could I mean, I think both those things are probably factors, but
And Bynum will turn back on again after the first year, so it'll be interesting to see if it.
So,
They used their allotment up for 18, so they had to shut off.
Till January first.
Then after January first, if they got an open canal, they will turn back on. So if that,
somebody mentioned that it was the earthquake in Alaska, so I think anything.
well, it was like an 8.7.
There's a huge kid population in Singapore that could have affected it too.
That would be it.
What was the line from Jurassic Park, butterfly can flap its wings in Central Park? Sorry, go ahead, Mike.
We gotta make one more note. So moving on, I mentioned last meeting that we had a compliance inspection by DEQ. That report has been completed, I talked to him today. The inspector finished the report and submitted it as a non-violation. It goes to DEQ for review. They kicked it back and want to have a violation on it due to some violations we'd already got back in 2015 and 16. The inspector is gonna go back and argue with the review board that it shouldn't be that way. Hopefully she'll win.
What are our chances?
Not good.
they gotta find some.
You
So don't hold my breath on that one, huh?
you don't win when you fight with the DEQ. Even she admits that, and she works for it. But, you know, I think there's a chance, and even if they do, I'm gonna write a letter if they deem it a violation to try and get them to turn it. I won one argument with them once, so.
So I guess, and I don't, if it's too complex, don't worry about it explaining it, but there was a violation in 15, a violation in 16, they came and inspected, now there was no violation, but because of those previous violations.
Well, yeah, cause this particular inspection covers,
Like a period of time, like 3 years or 5 years, okay.
yeah, they're supposed to do it every 3 to 5 years. I think we were actually 6 or something.
Yeah, it's a ways out.
So it goes back and they go through everything.
So if the kickback held, we did get a violation, we'd have to basically go another 3, 4, 5, 6 years before they would come and inspect again, with no violations.
No, it's kinda different. If we can go,
It's like a rolling 5 or
cause
something.
a violation on this report is a violation. And then like if we have a blown sample, that's a violation. If we make it a whole year without any kind of violation, then we get a 25% discount on our permit.
Okay.
And that's, right now, we're sitting where if we can get this report done and make it to the end of the month without a problem, then next year we'll get a 25% less on our permit.
Gotcha.
And it's kinda cool to say we went a year without a violation.
Yeah.
So we're gonna battle that one.
What does that amount to? I mean, how much is a permit, an annual permit?
$1,500. It's not,
Oh, okay.
it's not.
So it's not
really-
like a $50,000
Yeah.
savings?
No,
or
it's-
anything? I was just curious.
It's a pretty, you know, I think, I don't know how many wastewater plants pull it off.
Yeah,
Mm.
gotcha.
It'd be cool.
It would be, yeah.
So that's that. Hopefully we'll know something, well, actually we won't, it's a DQ, it'll be a month or so. Results
Did
are on
they put a
there.
rush on it or what?
They don't use that word. Results are down there, they're still falling in place good. Everything up to this point been going good. I'll get to the rest of it here
Are
down.
you feeling really confident about your guys' ability to do the test and stuff?
Mhm.
Good.
We're still doing really good on total nitrogen and phosphorus, and we turn the page, just this week, we are having a bug crisis in the ditch right now.
The temperature?
Got an imbalance of bacteria, it's affecting our treatment ability. Right now, we're still having good treatment. I think we've got the situation handled, and it's just gonna it takes time to swing the biological process from this way over the top and get it to go back down.
Yeah.
Hopefully we can before next week's sample. It'd be really bad luck if we get them to change their designation on our review and then we blow a sample in the last month of the year. We'll see. We're doing everything we can to get it back in line, and, Levi went down to the Great Falls today and, looked at under their microscope, and we learned a lot, and I think we're on track.
So, that, yeah, I was curious, so,
Yeah, Jill came out and helped me
yeah.
pull a sample last
Looking
night
at
in
the
the dark.
bugs, it's cool to look at, I don't, if you guys haven't been out there, it's cool to look at that stuff.
Couple things in wastewater that aren't on the report, I don't know if I mentioned them, I'm trying to write a proposal to get a new camera for, investigating main lines for infiltration, because we still have a lot of work to do there.
Would it be a longer range, or would it be?
This camera, the one we have right now is probably a seventies or eighties vintage camera you push with a sewer jet. So, and it's black and white, it doesn't pan, you can't really see much with it. The only lights on it are, the little mag lights we strap onto it with black tape.
Nice.
And, you know, they have camera systems now, they've come so far, like everything else in the last few years, and now you can get one that you don't require a sewer jet to push it up the main line with. It's got a little tractor, it's got a HD camera, 40x zoom, it pans everywhere, it's got lights, windshield wipers, you name it. It goes 1,000 feet.
Cause ours is
And
limited
it's
to.
a small unit, we
Five
can,
hundred,
what's that?
ours is limited to like 500. How far can ours go, 700?
300 feet.
Oh, okay.
I mean, you could technically go further, but, I mean, you risk the chance of getting it stuck, which we've done, so. But it's a pretty neat system, and it would really, and the beauty of it is that you can set it up and go and look at something and pull it up, and like it would be very instrumental for when we start seeing a lot of water in a manhole, we can go, hey, we can run it up there like that, see if there's a sump pump running, and then go to that person and help them find a new place to put the water. We can make videos and it just stores it on a digital jump drive, bring them back here, look at them on the computer, figure out exactly where they're at, it'll give us location data. You know, right now, if we see a leak, basically we make a line on the hose, we reel it back in, then we pull it back out, and it's about here. This thing will give us exactly where it's at.
So what's that cost?
$2,000,
How much?
52. I'm trying to get grant money to pay for it. Hopefully we can get some grant money and get it bought. So I'll keep you posted on that. I think at one point I mentioned that we had a motor that was full of water on a pump.
Mm-hmm.
It was on a pump skid that theoretically was not in the building when it was flooded. I pulled the other pump off and it was running, but I thought I'd better check it. It was pumped full of water and rust too. I have a feeling all those motors are. To replace one of those motors is about $3,900.
Yeah.
I can take them down Great Falls and get them tore apart, cleaned out, bearings replaced. That one we did was $395.
How many pumps are there?
We have minimum of 5 more motors down there. Well, minimum, yeah, there's 2 more that I'm fairly confident myself weren't in there when it flooded, but we're gonna work our way through the 5 that are there one at a time. Just take them down there over the course of the winter, get them done. We'll see on those other 2. I may pull one off and just say, hey, crack it open, and if it looks fine, put it back together. Just to be,
Yeah.
just on the safe side. So, you know, rule of the story is, we got lied to on that deal. And, you know, if I knew what I know now, at that time, I would just pull the motor and put it down. I didn't know it was that easy or cheap to go pull one apart and look at it.
Yeah.
And I should have done that, but, hindsight's 20/20, so. Water, everything came back good, our water test for December. Yesterday, the DEQ issued approval on our water tank valve replacement plan, so this summer we'll get after that. We're still thinking around on the pump one and Rickham, it's running fine. We're just kind of letting it get a little worse before we replace it.
How long would it be down when you do replace it?
What's that?
How long would it be down when you do replace it?
We're gonna try to keep it to like 3 or 4 days. That's a big motor, we need to bring a crane in to pull it. It's a process. So, we want everything coordinated really well so that it comes out fast. When it hits the shop, they're ready to work on it, pull it apart, they have the bearings already bought, put them in, get it together, bring it back, stick it in. Streets, we're still patching potholes, of course. We did get our new 36-inch zipper in, and the 48 one went away.
Hallelujah.
So that's good, finally. And that GIS grant is wrapping up. The deadline's the 28th of December. The databases are all done right now, and they're over Missoula getting the metadata developed and topology checks done on them. I'm gonna get a 1-month extension to the grant, mainly because, there's a fair amount of money left on the grant. And the gal at MLIA said that she would be fine with us using it to get a laptop for GIS. So, just to facilitate how much time it takes to get that done, we're gonna extend the grant out 1 more month so we can get that.
Cool.
Hopefully, we'll see. Any questions? Joe came out last night when I had a full sample and got to look at the microscope. You guys should all come out and.
Do you guys have an electron microscope then, or is it?
No, it's just it's a good microscope, but it's not, I don't know, it's a phase microscope, but it's nothing really fancy.
Do you have a
It's
set
good one.
schedule?
What's that?
Do you have a set schedule for when you pull
We pull.
samples?
We can do it whenever you guys wanna come out. Levi typically, Monday mornings, he always does some work with the microscope, Monday, Wednesday, Friday of every week.
Cool.
So what did you find out in Great Falls by taking that sample there?
It was pretty interesting. There's a bad bacteria, and it's in a family, they call them the filamentous bacteria, they look like spaghetti. They just they don't do anything bad other than wreak havoc in a plant, cause they just tangle everything up, but you can't see them. And they were in there last night, and it's just part of the learning curve for us, and he took that down there, and they have, stain kits, and they were able to stain it, and you could see them. He brought the stain slide back, and we just pulled them.
So how do you get rid of them?
Pick each one out.
Yeah, pick them all out with the tweezers.
Chopsticks.
We have, when they design the plant and build it, there is chlorine injection available in numerous places out there. We can dose it and that'll kill them. We're not gonna go there.
Because that's kind of like hitting a reset button, isn't it?
What's that?
That's kind of like hitting a reset button, because then you gotta grow your good bacteria back too, don't you?
No, theoretically, you can just hit it, basically you get a baseline of what your effluent looks like in terms of turbidity, and then you put chlorine to it until you see an increase in turbidity, and the minute you see that, you stop.
Okay.
But we're not gonna go that route right away, just cause that's the nuclear option. So we've changed some of our RAS rates, some of our WAS rates, and our return gates on our anoxic and oxidative zones, we kind of basically did the opposite of what we normally do for nutrient management, so we probably won't get rid of phosphorus as well, or nitrogen during the next 10 days, 2 weeks, while we get rid of these bacteria.
And it'll kind of starve them out or suffocate them.
It'll shove them into an uncomfortable environment,
Yeah, okay,
so,
okay.
and then they'll.
They're already in the sewage pond, right?
It's
not just
they're happy.
That's
Yeah,
a
but
party
for them,
zone.
that's a comfortable environment.
I know.
There's lots of food in there.
I'm just squirreling.
It's
It's-
with
And all the groundwater's not helping us right now.
Yeah.
That's part of the problem. We have a
Yeah,
dilute mixture going in.
Maybe if it freezes a little. bit.
dilution is not the solution in this
Not
case.
for this.
It used to be.
Well, thank you for your report, Mike.
You bet.
Jody,
First off, I did talk with the people from the, warranty program, the insurance, and, also I was visiting with Agnes from Conrad, and they have asked the question, and we need to, I did submit it to them. I have not received the signed copy back, but at that point, then there'll be about a 20-minute phone they'll call us and have a 20-minute conversation, where we can ask some questions, and there will be wells will be included, which will be nice, because we do have a lot of wells in Choteau, and that way you could use, because from your house and the sewer lines are actually covered if you pick the one insurance, so it will be, I was surprised when she said that, but the one question we have been asked, and we did find out the answer to, it is not for businesses, it's just residential. So, that was one of the questions that has been asked. And then today, we did have, we've been talking for a while about needing to actually get an IT program in the city. We did have a company come in today, it's the same company that the county uses. They did ask some questions, they are gonna give us a quote and what we could get from them. We have one more company coming on Thursday. So,
How many quotes do you have to get?
I can just do the one, but we're getting two. Steve talked to him a little bit, so did I at, League. And, I talked to Paula quite a bit over the last month or so. They really like this company that we use today. They do scanning, searchable scanning, so they can do all of our old minute books and that kind of stuff. They can help Mike with all his plot maps. It would be nice to be able to have searchable documents, and it would really those minute books are since 1913, and if something ever happens to
There's
this
much
building
liability
there,
because there's no backup.
right,
not to those. So, and then there is several communities that are changing the time of their meetings, and Dan told me to say something. They're changing their time instead of 7 o'clock to 6 o'clock. So something to think about, how we would do it is by resolution, if something that anyone would be interested in that. So, something to talk about. And that's all I have, cause I talked long ago.
So I had two questions asked on the insurance. Are septic systems covered?
I didn't ask that, wells are,
should be a
probably-
septic tank, there should be a septic system in town,
there's not in town.
There aren't any in town.
there better
Okay.
not be.
Okay,
No, there shouldn't be.
so the second question, is the pump in the well covered? Because, this is someone who has
Your
if theirs to their-
irrigation system is not covered.
right, but if your pump ties into your house water, would it be covered? I guess would be the question.
And that would be something we'd have to ask. I know
Okay.
the well, I think so, but that,
Okay, And then
I didn't ask that question of the guy, it was actually Agnes who did, so.
And this person only asked because on their insurance, they have their insurance's version of this and it's not. So if they were gonna switch, they'd wanna know if it was or wasn't.
Yeah, and
Right.
that would be a good question for the 20-minute phone call,
Okay,
so. And it's gonna, just so you know, it's going to take some time. Conrad has been doing this since late October, and they're just now sending out the letters. So the guy told me that we were all waiting for that resolution. Well, so we all got it, and now there's several communities, we were number 8, and he had several more that were coming, so they're sort of getting inundated, so it's gonna take a little bit of time for this to all happen. It's not gonna be in 2-3 weeks, it's probably gonna be, no, it's not gonna be in January. I think that you're probably looking at, February, March before it actually all comes to fruition. And that's all I have.
Thanks, Joey. Steve?
Nothing major. There's a lot of awesome nonprofits in this community, and it's the end of the year, and if anyone's thinking about their end of year final contributions, there's a lot of awesome organizations doing a lot of awesome work in this community. I encourage people to support them. That's all I got.
Stuart?
we talked about the playground and I asked my questions about insurance, so I'm good.
Jill?
You guys can fill me in on the playground discussion.
We're gonna send you some.
I don't have anything, that's fine.
I just wanted to follow up, and this might have been the last meeting item that I missed, so I apologize, but the last I had heard, which was a month ago, railroad tracks, they were putting wood, but then they were gonna come back into concrete, concrete when?
Spring.
Possibly concrete, probably spring.
Okay,
Yep.
but
That's what
that's still,
we both heard,
Yeah.
right?
but that's still
Yeah.
part of the plan too.
Yes.
They're much better, so thank you for pushing on those. That's all I have, so I meant to say that's all I have. And that's all I have.
The only thing I've got, had you sign a letter
Yeah.
for, sent to our anonymous donor. I told Tom I wanted to let her make it sound good, and he did a really good job, so I really appreciate it.
Thanks, Tom.
No problem.
He's good at it. I mean, everything that I've got has been running good. Haven't heard many complaints other than our normal dog complaints at Tom and Becky are ready.
Dogs.
Buy a gun and just eliminate the owners, not the dogs.
I found out that the person complaining about mine has been teasing her.
Yeah. Oh, I hear that lots.
Yeah, well,
That's,
some people
but
just don't
other
like
than-
dogs.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's fine.
Other than all, I wish everybody Merry Christmas
Yeah,
and
Merry
Happy
Christmas,
New
Happy New
Year, and
Yeah.
thanks to all of our employees. Been a good year.
Christmas party on
Oh, yeah,
27th?
Christmas party 27th.
Oh, sure, you picked the day I leave.
The Christmas party for the
You can come
city.
too now.
Yeah. Bowling alley,
Bowling alley.
27th Thursday.
And it's a Thursday, so you don't have
Oh,
any.
so
you state?
And
Oh,
sandwiches,
yeah.
if
I'm
you
gonna
come,
go
bring a side dish or dessert.
Okay, so do we need to go back to?
We need to go back to
out-of-state
the out-of-state
requests?
request, cause Jill's here now.
Oh, and she has one?
Well,
Yeah,
I gotta ask, so,
Shoot, well,
all in favor of denying her, say aye.
Okay, we haven't adjourned yet, so okay, what is it?
December 24th through the 30th. So I missed the bowling party and I love
Me
bowling parties.
too.
Okay.
Pretty fun the last couple of years.
Mhm.
Why
Are you gonna let her
was it
go?
so late?
I moved that we let her go.
I'll second.
been moved and seconded, all those in favor?
Aye.
Next year have a bowling party earlier.
We tried to, but the bowling alley was busy.
Oh.
Yeah.
Who's the second?
Mark was.
Yeah, Marcus.
Sorry, I was spacing out.
We originally.
It was the guy with the beard.
Yeah.
Okay.
Meeting is adjourned.
Great.